right, so Euro GBP trade breakdown. So this is a trade I took today. Today was kind of a nice day. I spent the whole day trying to take pullback trades to catch those precise entries, and ended up pretty much a break even on most of them. I took some partials on other trades, but this is a more highly confirmed trade. It makes more sense. I even sent it very early in the Masters Technical. It was sent very in advance. Some of you took it, some of you didn't. It's okay. So I'm gonna go over it today. I'm also gonna explain how come my stop loss isn't below this week, um, and also the reasons why I didn't cover the high. That is the most probable target you have. But in trading, like in everything in life, you need to adjust on what happens with your life, and we'll discuss about it. So I think that some of you guys gave me some indication that they appreciate the bar replay. So what we'll do is we'll go over the whole day in bar replay. Okay. So let's go and start here. Validation shield. We know we continue at this point in time. We have what we call here sell side liquidity, right? We can see it here pretty clearly. I don't need to mark it up. You guys are already professionals now. You already see it. Okay. Now let's move price. What do we have here? We have our first break of structure for retail strategies, right? So this would make us mark up a FBOS, right? Let me just zoom in so you guys can see better. I think it's better now, right? So we have our first FBOS. If this is an FBOS, we identify the imbalance here as being an SMT, right? The POI with imbalance. Also, what adds even more with this confluence is that with this evidence, sorry, is that we are in Asia low. So Asia low, clear sell side liquidity, FBOS, pretty clear what's happening right now, right? We can have some good indication over here that this PY can be an SMT. Okay, let's continue. Let's push price. Now what happens? Price almost goes to this. Will it go now? It doesn't. Okay, yeah, now I remember. Perfect. Now what we have here is it seems like price is actually creating a new high. Okay. Now let me just mark up this. So now what we have is clear equal highs, right? Even though I already told you guys, don't smack yourself head because this induced, it did induce, but it's still clear liquidity. So it's clear equal highs, right? Okay. Now we have our SMT confirmation. So now we would want to potentially trade away from this. So now we have liquidity here that has been taken, and now we have liquidity here. Okay, let's continue. See what happens. Now we could potentially have an entry here. You guys are starting to feel how the entry works, right? We have an inducement and we have a reaction to target the next liquidity point. In this case, would be here, right? Understand also that Asia high is a form of liquidity here, but this becomes liquidity only when this point makes a new low, right? But it's just that people don't enter here. Here. People don't enter. So now we can confirm that this structural point or these equal highs are now relevant because of this push, right? This push, this. Okay. This is why it's important to mark. We can even mark up this as liquidity here because when the invalidation shield is done, people would be entering here. But this is not something I do. It's just so you guys understand that yes, we might have liquidity here. So if you would want to enter this zone here, let's say, it would be normal to target this, but you could also target this. Okay? let's continue. Let's push. Now we have a clear candle, enticing buyers, also taking liquidity. So let's do this. What it's like this, right? And just make sure that this is recording. Cool, cool, cool. Sorry, I had a little technical problem. Okay. So now price is pushing reaction to this liquidity. Okay. What is it doing? Filling this imbalance, right? This here doesn't have any imbalance, as you can see. It has already been filled perfectly. So now we're filling this imbalance. So we might. Okay, cool. And look, sometimes I just ask myself, how can people even doubt shit? Look at this. How perfectly we react to this liquidity, right? Perfect candle reaction, candle closure, right? Look, like there's no doubts that at some point the candle was here, right? So people would potentially look for short. So if we have this high here, I think it's important for us. Up this, oops. I'm about to put those stop loss figure. It's annoying. Okay. I don't want to mark this up here because I don't like that it's too small. I just don't like it. Okay. So now let's go. What happened here? It goes a little bit higher. Okay. Now price comes back. Okay. Now what happens? It mitigates actually this inducement POI. We haven't talked about inducement POIs yet, but it mitigates this. And remember, this took liquidity, so it's relevant that we have a reaction, right? So if this is the inducement, this is potentially here the relevant break of structure also. So we could mark this as being a S for us. Okay. Just like what it. Okay, so now we mitigate this. This is probably an entry. I don't think there's really something to take here in the point of our journey right now. But we have a reaction. Now price. Now we have this imbalance reaction here, FVG or FOV or whatever you guys call it. Okay. Now, at this point, this is where things gets a little bit tricky. And this is where, and I even missed it because I went too fast. Let me remove this. When there's speed and momentum and there's structures like this is how you identify FBOSS. Go on M1 and look how speed and momentum this structure has been taking. Look at this, okay? Look at this. Respecting all of the structure. Look how it went fast. And then left. Right? So this is a proper FBOSS. Oops. FBOSS. So if this is an FBOSS, this becomes an SMT. So if you go in, this becomes an SMT. Here and have a little refinement done here, right? And we can have that reaction to justify. And then this means that we had liquidity here. Let's put it like this, right? Pretty clearly. So now we're still trading, and we'll talk about tradeaways later, but we're still trading on the same direction, always opposite to the liquidity. And this is where some of the members needs to understand. For me, trading with them or with the inducement, it's boring. I need to challenge myself and to challenge the strategy to discover more stuff. So it's normal for me to take pullbacks to trying to database those information and provide myself with new entry approaches. I have about 25-ish different ways of entering a trade, even 30, goddammit. It's just that if I don't test stuff, I'm never going to discover it. So it's easy to take a trade like this trade on EG. It's easy, right? This trade was easy because I had to make some money today because I was constantly hitting some break evens. And this is usually what happens with me is when I start doing too much shit in a day, I just end up focusing and taking a proper trade. But it's just that for myself and the way I trade, I just feel like it's boring and I need a little bit more stimulation, sorry. So just understand that when you guys are asking questions, oh, why did you enter here when there's clear liquidity taking on the opposite side? Of course, I know this. I'm the one teaching you guys how to spot the liquidity. So of course I know how to spot the liquidity. It's just that I need to have a little bit more challenge, right? The same way that some of the people that play sports do some trick shots, it's the same thing. I need to challenge myself. So please understand that if I do something that seems unclear or a little bit too complex, it's just because I'm testing stuff and I'm trying to improve also. Otherwise, it's just boring, right? If every single day it's just taking easy trades, I'm never going to evolve, right? So challenge, document, and test. Okay, let's continue. Now we don't have no doubts. Price pushing. Now, at this point here, this is a clear vector candle, clear liquidity, and we have this, right? And this is where a lot of people get it wrong. We have liquidity here for people entering. It's 100%. Also have potentially this leg. And people expect at this point. I respect that. We're not going to talk about it today, but I'll grasp a little bit. Okay, let's go. Right, price pushing. At this point in time, we have no intentions of shorting. It's not taking anything here. Maybe faking these equal highs, even though it's like super irrelevant liquidity. Let me go in M15. Complete. It's nothing really. It's just not so important. And this is where usually I get involved when price comes back and I take a trade like this and I target the liquidity below. But usually when this happens, you just need to wait. We have all this imbalance here to fill. This is the first goal. Fill inefficiency, and we'll have a video about it. It's very important. They need to fill all the gaps, right? Okay. Now there's a perfect entry, my type of entry here. Perfect here. Now price continues to push lower. Now we see that we came back in this break and retest zone. It didn't retest this zone. Kind of unfortunate because it would have respected this area. We could potentially argue that we did provide a reaction to this zone here, and you can see here like this. But yeah, I just don't think it's very important. Having confirmation of people entering here just provides you even more evidence that they're maybe going lower. But in terms of liquidity, like you want to mark up liquidity here being taken immediately, like it's like a lot of people I see mark up SMTs like this. If an SMT doesn't provide an entry, it's not important to mark it up. So you see, we mark up the SMT because this provide an entry, and the SMT is the target at this zone here. Having an SMT here doesn't give you any indication, right? Let's continue. Now we do have a reaction of Asia high bounce, as we discussed. Fills the imbalance. This is a beautiful other entry here. We go here on M1. That would have been my type of entry. You can see. This one is a little bit more confirmed one, right? And we all target this below liquidity here. Perfect. Pushing, pushing, pushing. Now we have what we call new sell side liquidity. Perfect. At this point hasn't made a significant, other than this, we can put it here since there is kind of a vector with a new structural low. So we can put this, but this point here doesn't have any liquidity. It will become relevant if they go below the next relevant structure. So this one or this one, okay? And this is where, when I do my analysis, I would put an alert here. Oops. Alert. Alert. Here. In here. So you just have to wait. Now it fills the imbalance. But the problem is, at this point in time, we have no indication that this is an SMT other than this liquidity below. So if we, and this is where I want you guys to slow. Let's go in M15 because some of you guys appreciate it. All this is actually trading downside, right? If you add this idea of all this price action respecting a downwards order flow, and this zone here is what breaks structure, right? As you can see, but then it mixes up because this POI actually hold it, right? But it hold it because it took liquidity. And this is why I don't want to talk too much about it, because it goes into the inducement POIs areas, and I think it's a little bit too soon to talk about it. Now, let's see, and we have now an idea. Is this an SMT or no? We wait because there's some reactions that can happen. Now, what we do now, this is what I want to see. Clear break and retest, traders. Clear break and retest. There's no doubts about it. Now, price, let's see what happens. Oh, okay. Wicked out. Okay. Low. Okay, now it's below, so I would confirm their entry here pretty much. See, there is people entering here, and this is a release of liquidity that proves it, because people entered and they just push the price in the opposite direction. But it's just that at this point we had no doubts. People are entering, so there's clear liquidity. Okay. Now, see, this push here indicates two things. One, FBOSS, need momentum structural shift. Let's look together. Here, use the path tool. It's never doing a new high until here, right? The path tool helps you. Look, respecting, it's the same thing. Respecting order flow, the structure, bias. This is an official FBOSS. If this is an FBOSS, tell me what it is. How is this called a beautiful SMT, right? And we also at the same time took liquidity to fuel this move, right? And we'll talk about how they fuel the move in a later. SMT, will we have a reaction? I don't like that it went lower though. Let me just go in one. Because I would have liked for it to be kept equal lows, because that would have been one type of my type of entry I would appreciate. Because there's an imbalance POI, there's an inducement POI. This is the move that actually created the FBOSS. If this is the inducement, okay, if this is the inducement, this becomes a relevant break of structure. If this is a relevant break of structure, this becomes an inducement POI, a mitigation POI. So there's potentially an entry there. So let's look and go in M1 and see exactly how the candle reacts in there. Okay. That's done. Okay. Speed momentum. Here we go. Okay. This is good. This is good. This is good. This is good. So if this is here, no imbalance here. Let's go to M5. And this would be my type of entry I would take, but the problem is, and I know exactly what happened, I would be targeting the fence here. Let me just, I don't have my chart in front of me, so I don't remember, even though it was today, but I took so many trees. Okay, push, 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 perfect. Let's keep it going. So at this point in time, we're break even here. Let's go and let's check. Did this point made a new low? No. Did this point made a clear low? Yes. Liquidity here and clear new low here, right? So now, without any doubts, okay, perfect. This is where we'll talk about candle closure. We have this candle that closes against this liquidity here, okay? We close this. Alert is triggered. We close this alert. We still have this push. This push, where did this push enter? Here. Look to the left and see if there's a clear release of liquidity. We could argue that potentially, maybe be hit. Maybe. But even this, if this doesn't really provide any real confidence for you guys, look at this. At this point, when there's that release, look at the next candle. Right? You've seen this, right? Multiple times. This is what candle closure analysis is. Look at how this candle closes. Look at how the next one, this is a full 10 minutes. Go in M1, go check what happens. This becomes, right? This here becomes a potential imbalance POI. We have here maybe an R boss. Why? It took liquidity. This point made this new low. So this is where you need to monitor. And this is why usually you take your partials. But imagine you didn't take your partials. Wait until price comes back. Just until it fills the imbalance. I would just close there because here it doesn't, and this is exactly what I did. When you look on M5, and this is where it's very important. Here should be your partial, or should be max TP. Right? This is like a 10R. This is like a 9R. You're gonna lose 1R and hit the B. No, that's stupid. You just close. The fact that let's go together and understand. This inducement POI is also the extreme. But the extreme is actually a wick M5. When this happens, I exclude the wick. Why? Because remember, support and resistance trader are potentially looking. And this is just what happens. The equal lows folded. Look how the candle closed above this high. And this high is, this low is still, the candle closed above this low, and this low is still respected. And we're switching the actual trend. And look at this. Our bus doesn't go here, doesn't even fill the imbalance, right? But if we go in M5, there's the wick. If we check the whole POI, let me remove the equal lows. If we check the whole POI, it's actually perfectly mitigated. And this is why the multi-time frame analysis is important. Look, 1510, 1511, 1512, 13, 14, 15. All this should be the M5 candle. Yeah, this is a problem with this one. This one should be freaking feeders. This one should be the M5 candle. And we just mitigate this one. Now we have another relevant break structure and equal highs. Comes back, we fill this imbalance. If you weren't able to close here, close the goddamn. Anyway, this is where I got involved into my trade. I took the actual decisional POI. I excluded the wick and I just included the imbalance perfectly. I can send you the MT4 logs and they're perfectly, SL is perfectly at this level. So now I think it came back here. Here we go. And we'll see what happens from there. Where is the liquidity, right? We have liquidity here. We have liquidity here, right? And we have liquidity here. But now, since this pushed to a new low as a higher time frame play, this one didn't close below. So just because of the equal highs here, I think it's important. Without those equal highs, I think that this low wouldn't be. Now, I had to leave. I had a business meeting. So what I did is when price went higher, I took my partials here. Okay. I just took a little volume out just to secure some money. And then I moved my TP to here. But then I unfortunately hit double break even on my GU double dipping trades. That was literally a 45R profit. So felt pretty bad. So I just decided to pussy out and close my position here. It's okay. There's no, and it's just because it's me. I don't like having positions open when I'm not in the computer because since on my MT4 on my cell phone, I only have one out of my 10 accounts and it's my master's account. But of course, I cannot take partials with Trade Assistant when I'm on my cell phone because I need to calculate. I prefer setting up my partials in advance and I like monitoring price live. And it's very important when I send my charts on technical, I talk about candle closures, but I actually look at those on MT4 because TradingView actually glitches every single time. It's not accurate, so I look at candle closure on MT4s and I take decisions out of it. So if we have a release here and price comes back, I'll take my right. And now price perfectly. For liquidity, we had that reaction, I remember, and it just loaded. But the best and most important target would be one, but we understand sense. And it is what it is. I mean, we cannot perfectly have all of the perfect TPs. You guys need to understand that I'm also human, and we had also this here. So it's normal to, even though I don't account this as a mistake because it's actually protecting the capital, protecting my money, and protecting the account. Since I'm actually editing and putting my TP, usually your first idea in trading is usually the best one. When you decide to change, this is where everything goes to vinegar because you're trying to edit something that actually is already well thought of. And I think that this TP here was the best one, especially that we were potentially creating a Nev boss here. Because if you check this, this is, oops, this as a structural leg is a Nev boss. So I wanted to potentially see a reaction out of this POA. Not so big of a reaction, but it's okay. You can't win them all. The only goal and the only thing I want you guys to understand is that I'm completely transparent. I'm showing you exactly what I do. And we can't perfectly predict all the trades. And especially providing the thought process in live is very difficult. So I hope you guys enjoy it. But the goal is always to stay in green. And the only way to do it is a Monday morning, you do not take a trade other than a highly confirmed trade. I don't want you guys to taking stupid trades just because you want to. Usually, when you want to enter a trade and you have a stress feeling, you're feeling anxious, you're feeling FOMO, it's usually time to sit out. When you clearly see a good trade, you will know it. You will know for a fact that it's a good trade without any doubt. Think about it. So that's my trade breakdown, and I think the rest is pretty obvious. We had the release of the liquidity. Not so perfect on MT4, it's a little bit more clear, but now they're just fake the equal and more. So I think that having this as a target is a good one, and it's a 1 to 10. Come on, we're not going to complain about that. So important to understand that excluding the wick is not something I recommend. And I know I sound like a little asshole to do something that I don't want you to do, but this requires a lot of practice. And this is not something you do when you want to take a highly confirmed trade for your first trade of the week. This is just because it's the way I trade and I like the surgical precision, but there's way more risk associated with it. But what happens is when I take a stop loss, I don't feel emotional to take entry. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, I have a lot of other videos to do. We'll go over them very, very soon. So this was the chart breakdown of Euro GBP on September 20. Have a good one.